In this segment of the Ellis Martin Report, Ellis speaks with Scott Petsel, president of Metallic Minerals, trading as MMG on the TSX Venture Exchange and as MMNGF in the U.S. on the OTCQB. Metallic Minerals is a growth stage exploration company focused on the acquisition and development of high-grade silver and gold projects within underexplored districts proven to produce top-tier assets. The company's objective is to create value through a disciplined, systematic approach to exploration, reducing investment risk and maximizing probability of long-term success. Their core Keno Silver Project is located in the historic Keno Hill Silver District of Canada's Yukon Territory, a region which has produced over 200 million ounces of silver and currently hosts one of the world's highest-grade silver resources. Metallic's La Plata Silver Gold Copper Project is located in the high-grade La Plata district of the prolific Colorado Mineral Belt. The company is also building a portfolio of gold royalties in the historic Klondike Gold District. Metallic Minerals is led by a team with a track record of discovery and exploration success, including large-scale development, permitting, and project financing.
Scott, welcome back to the program. It's great to be visiting with you today.
Great to be here, Ellis. Thanks for the invite.
While I've been traveling around the globe, you've been doing some impressive work in the ground at the Keno Silver Project in Yukon, Canada. There's a conservative intersect here of 983 grams per ton, the headline of the news release that came out about a week or so ago. You have some other intersects which are over 3,200 grams per ton at some of the samples that you've brought back from the assay labs, and that is just incredible. What do we got going here?
It impresses me when you say it that way. It's pretty neat. This is our West Keno part of the Keno Silver Project, and we've taken this 35-kilometer long district. It's so big, and we have the second largest property package in the district, and we're spread across that 35 kilometers. So we've divided it up into thirds, and we tend to talk about the West Keno, Central Keno, and East Keno areas. The geology is the same across the entire 35 kilometers. As we know, there's been 200 million ounces of historic production and over 100 million ounces of current reserves and resources that are held by Alexco in the district, our brownfields neighbor that's currently in production. And so our work at the West Keno target has been specifically looking at what was a former producer called the Formo mine. And this is just a couple of kilometers on strike with the structural intersections on the Elsa trend, but very close to the Birmingham deposit where Alexco is focusing a lot of their work, and the Hector Calumet mine, which produced nearly 100 million ounces of silver historically. And those are right on trend from us. So what we've done is we've identified this piece of ground around the historic mine, put together all the information that we could on it over the last few years, went in 2020 and began drilling at Formo and looking at down plunge and on strike intercepts away from the historic mine, historic mineralization, and use that information that we've collected to target and come up with some really good intercepts, like you say, 4.6 meters at nearly 1,000 gram per ton silver equivalent. But we're also seeing these broad intervals we've talked about at East Keno and Central Keno at Formo in the West Keno district. So we're also getting intervals up to 22.8 meters at over 200 grams per ton silver equivalent, which is really significant. And it provides us with optionality in terms of how we look at these things. It's not just typical Keno West narrow 1 meter style veins that are 3,000 grams per ton, but we can put a lot of ounces together, silver ounces together on wide intercepts of lower grade as well, and figure out as we move forward if we're able to get those into resources and figure out if they're economic as we move beyond the resource stage.
Well, ounces per ton is certainly an attractive thing to say. And you say that the geology is similar across the project in that particular area. So can we potentially expect similar grades as you step out the project over time?
Well, I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole plan is, we've got the Formo mine modeled in 3 dimensions, and we can look at it now and we like to say sit and spin with the deposit, spin it around, look at the plunge, look at the trends, step out in the appropriate directions. We're really in that sweet spot to be able to do that and understand enough of the geology to add more intercepts like the one we just drilled. And when you think about the amount of grade that we see so concentrated in these widths from say say, a meter to 22 meters. We're not quite ready to announce resources, but we can add ounces very quickly and get to a resource stage very quickly with this work.
I was on the project probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know exactly when, but it was on a tour of the Yukon. I was up there with your chairman, Greg Johnson, and members of the team. I don't believe you were there at the time. You may have been. What's happened in the last 5 years, and what can we see 5 years from now potentially? I mean, it's been an interesting run over this course of time.
Metallic Minerals formed in 2016, and we really set about to do the acquisition and expansion of our district scale land package over the intervening years, and began the data compilation and target prioritization and really working towards initial drill programs on those projects. And since then, we've completed the modeling, we've identified several new target areas, we've continued to do drill programs on some of these, we've advanced a number of targets like Formo, Caribou, and our Fox showing at Keno East towards mineral inventories and hopefully towards mineral resources here in the very near term. And between the drilling, the IP geophysics, the mapping, soil sampling, we've been able to not only initiate those drill programs, move targets towards resource definition, but also make new discoveries and make new discoveries of geologic types or geologic and structural controls on mineralization that give us new concepts of what might be economic in the district. And what I mean by that is prior to 2020 and the work that we did in Keno East, no one had really approached the district as anything other than identifying traditional high-grade silver, lead, zinc veins at Keno. And what we did in 2020 in Keno East is go out, execute some drill programs based on the work that we had done prior to that, and make discoveries of these broad zones, these broad, potentially bulk mineable zones up to 112 meters wide that run lower grade than the traditional Keno style veins, but are still very much silver rich and potentially economic. And that kind of discovery, along with the discovery last year of a new style, epithermal style of mineralization, which typically has more gold associated with it, is giving us a leg to make further new discoveries while we continue to advance our key target areas towards resources, hopefully in the very near term.
You just closed a $4 million financing. Where's that money going to take you?
Well, right now, we're in the final planning stages for our work program in 2022, and this financing really gets us fully funded to execute that program through this year. We're very confident in terms of what we're going to be able to get done, not only at our Keno project, which should roughly turn out to be some geophysics and nearly 4,000 meters of drilling focused on advancing those key target areas towards resources, but to also be able to execute our program at the La Plata project in Southwest Colorado, where we'll be focused on resource expansion and testing new porphyry centers for copper mineralization.
Two fantastic jurisdictions, Colorado and the Yukon. Scott, you're positioned very well for good news down the road. You're in an area where there are majors circling around. Certainly your neighbor Alexco has done extremely well, and you've got a long way to go, but there's plenty of good news in the pipeline.
Agreed. We're really looking forward to getting back out into the field this year. We've already started to mobilize crews towards both of those projects, and we'll have hopefully drills turning in July in Keno. Additionally, we haven't talked about our royalty alluvial portfolio in the Klondike district, but I expect we'll have an update on our key operators on those projects that we may be able to start production with in the coming year. It's going to be a great season. I'm really excited to get some holes into some of these concepts that we've got and follow up on some of these great hits that we have had, particularly at Formo and Caribou at our Keno project.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I thought we were done, but we're not. You mentioned alluvial. You mentioned processing. That means, for those listeners that are not quite sure of what we're talking about here, that is placer mining. And that means there is product near the surface, if not at the surface, that's ready to be produced, milled, and taken to the market. And that will generate revenue that will not dilute your share structure.
That's very much correct. And, we're not quite there, but that's what we're working toward. We have a very large land position of placer or alluvial claims in the Klondike district where all the gold shows on TV are. And these are very valuable claims that we have. And we're working to identify operators to get out on these leases and then do the test work that they need to do in a very short period of time so they can begin production and we can capitalize on the royalty from these operations that will help fund at a base level our exploration activities moving forward.
Scott Petsel, president of Metallic Minerals, thank you so much for joining me today in the program. It's been great to catch up with you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Ellis, and likewise.
We've been speaking with Scott Petsel, president of Metallic Minerals, trading as MMG on the TSX Venture Exchange and as MMNGF in the U.S. on the OTCQB. For more information, go to the company's website, metallic-minerals.com. That's metallic-minerals.com. This is the Ellis Martin Report.